There is a conversation happening right now about Whitney Houston, and the strange thing about it is that Whitney isn't in it. She can't be. She's been gone for 14 years. This past week, two things happened close together. Clive Davis, the man who signed her and shaped how the world met her voice, passed away at 94. And around the same time,
we did the whole, hey girl, how you doing, greeting thing. And then I stopped the cameras and I went behind stage and I said, so tell me, what do you want? What do you want to happen here? And I'm going to tell you what I want to happen here. And that was one of the most powerful interviews. And do you all know, this is an amazing thing that happened. I had such trust from the Oprah show audience that Whitney did, I think it was her last show with us, and she had gone back on drugs. The first interview I did with her when we'd gone behind stage and I asked her about her intention, she was clean. But the day she came to my show then to perform in front of the audience, she was not. And she fell off of the stage. And I knew that if that story got out that she'd fallen off of the stage, that she would be destroyed by that. And so even though the audience was there and the audience had cameras, I begged them not to put those pictures out because it would ruin her life, and they did not.
And what about...
That would not happen today, I can tell you.
On the stage in Cannes, Oprah Winfrey told a story about Whitney's last appearance on her show, a story about a fall. Oprah told the audience that Whitney had relapsed, that she fell off the stage, and that she, Oprah, quietly protected her by asking the crowd not to share their photos. She framed it as a story about trust. Whitney's family heard it differently. Pat Houston, who runs her estate, responded publicly. Yes, she said, Whitney did fall, but it happened during a sound check in a dark and unfamiliar part of the stage.
Pat, first and foremost, what went through your mind when you heard Oprah's comments?
The first interview I did with her, she was clean. But the day she came to my show then to perform, she was not. And she fell off of the stage.
When I watched it, I was totally surprised. And, my response, it didn't have anything to do with anger or outrage with Oprah, because I know for a fact on that day that Whitney was not high.
What do you remember about Whitney that day when you saw her and you looked into her eyes?
That was a very meaningful moment for her. In the history of knowing Whitney for over 30 some odd years, of course she had abused drugs and everything, but for her craft, Whitney never showed up on stage high. You couldn't even get her out of her room, if she were high. And for a statement to be made like that, it was extremely disappointing. And I have all the respect in the world for Oprah. I have to protect her legacy. If it were true, I would admit it being true.
What Pat does admit, Whitney did fall off the stage during rehearsals.
She missed her step, then she fell off stage. And of course, Oprah was very gracious, and she immediately, addressed the audience.
The audience had cameras. I begged them not to put those pictures out because it would ruin her life.
She was adamant about it. No one will hear about this. You will not disrespect her. And she was so adamant and gracious.
What would you say to Oprah today?
Sister to sister, what happened? Because we both know that did not happen. I certainly would just want to ask the question, why? But it's not something, it wouldn't be anything confrontational, because I know that Whitney really, trusted her, and so did I.
So already, we have two versions of one moment, and neither of them belongs to the person it happened to. Both of them are about a fall. But here's the thing I want us to turn over together. The fall everyone is arguing about lasted a second. The way we tell it is lasting forever.
Walk us through that day.
It was a 2-day shoot.
She knew that the world was watching her, and there was nothing that she was doing previously. But to come and tell her honest to God truth about what was going on with her, she did not want to be or appear to be in any kind of way on anything. So she didn't have no, let me have a glass of wine because I'm nervous. Wasn't that? That day, she woke up in the mist in the morning like we do and pray. And her prayer was, Jehovah, give me the strength to say my truth. No matter how much it sounds bad, sounds nasty, sounds to anybody, this is what happens. And guess what? Worse things have happened to people. I'm just a people. That's how she felt. She said, but I'm going to show them. I don't want to know nothing. Bring me my tea, my lemon. She was ready. She was up in the morning praying. I know specifically that she didn't want to be in any kind of way labeled. So when we did the first show, she told everything. She told everything. She told you guys everything. Bad, good, and ugly. You know what I mean? Everything. We went to dinner that night. We woke up the next day. The next day we did the next shoot. And she looked even better than she did the day before. She didn't perform for you guys until the second day. She didn't perform until the second day, right? Mm-hmm. So the performance was, I wasn't built to break. Yeah. And I think that it was so emotional for her still but she did a hell of a job. You know what I mean? And I can't even imagine how Oprah Winfrey could open her mouth to say this. You could clearly look at her and tell nothing was wrong with Miss Houston. Even the people in the audience. That's why I hope the people in the audience start sharing your pictures. Start sharing your shit.
A body can fall on a stage and get back up.
Wellness to me means all things in balance. And balance doesn't mean all things are equal or at peace at all times. Choose.
A story can fall too, and when a person isn't here anymore, nobody's left to catch it. Here's what makes this week sit strangely. Whitney saw this coming. She knew, even back then, that other people would one day decide who she was. Let's listen to how she put it when someone asked what she wished the world understood about her.
Funkadelic terms, but yeah, we can deal with that. Finally, is there something that you'd like people to understand, to know about Whitney Houston that maybe through all of the articles and the videos and the appearances they don't know?
Ed, that's hard. I don't know. I think that if I said anything right now, that if I said anything that indicates that would help you to know me better, people would still want to know more. People always want to know more. They've already made up things about me, about my life, what I do, who I'm sleeping with, who I'm not sleeping with, So I just don't say anything. I just live my life. I can't worry about that, and I can't try to make a world of people know me. In order to know me, you've had to have lived with me. You'd have to be my mother or my father or my brothers or my friend, or people that really know me, You have to live with me in order to know me. I'd have to live with you in order to know you, It's very difficult to try to say, well, I'd like for you to know that so-and-so, or this and that and this and that, No, that's hard. I think in time, as I get older and as they see me grow into this old woman, I think they'll say, I think we know her pretty much now. When I'm dead and gone, they'll know me.
When I'm dead and gone, they'll know me. She said that with a laugh, but sit with it for a second. She's describing the exact situation we're in right now. People who didn't live with her deciding what her hardest moments meant. Part of why her story gets rewritten so easily is the thing she understood better than her critics did. The fame and the person are not the same. She drew that line herself.
How much has success changed you? How different are you? Probably a lot more paranoid. Success doesn't change you. Fame does. Fame does. You got a whole world of people calling your name and you really don't know them. It's weird. Is there a misconception of the fact that when we become famous that we have these beautiful, perfect lives and that nothing is ever on a low? It's a bad conception, because then people always think that you have to be this grand old person that's just happy about life and everything because what, we got money? Well, money doesn't make you happy. It never did. I mean, history will tell you that. And fame certainly doesn't make you happy. You know, people will tell you that who are famous. You know, you got to find the happiness in yourself. You got to know who you are before you step into this business. Because if you're trying to find it, you'll probably wind up being somebody else that you probably don't even like.
A whole world of people calling your name and you don't know them? That's the cause she names, and it's the same cause playing out now. A world of people who didn't know her narrating her. She also knew that being known publicly and being understood are also two different things. She called the public version of herself, of her life, a kind of prison. But notice she refuses to play the victim of it.
Because it seems as if you are living in this fishbowl, in this prison. You know, you're a prisoner of your own fame. Because you can't be as normal as everyone else. Not because you don't want to be, it's because people will not allow you to be, you know. But I try, you know. I know that I am human, and I try to make people aware of that fact. I go to the mall, I go shopping when I want to go shopping. I go to the store and get my own things when I want to do that, you know. Simply because I want to know that I can, you know. I don't want to feel as if I am a prisoner, because I am not. I was born free, and I want to always know that I am. Just because I'm famous because of what I do, you know, does not mean that I have to live in a prison. But sometimes, yeah, it is disheartening because you don't know what's out there waiting you sometimes, you know. You might have a wacko or, you know, or people, you know, on this particular day you may go out and people may bombard you, you know, that kind of thing, you know. So sometimes it is disheartening, it really is, and it can hurt you and it can make you very angry. But I always remember it's the choice I made.
I know that I am human. If we could just hold on to that line. Because this whole disagreement, a fall, a relapse, sound check, or spectacle, is really an argument about whether she gets to be remembered as a human being or a cautionary tale. And she knew the machinery of it, that the talking never really stops. Album or no album, true or not true.
I've been doing it for a long time. A lot of what I've learned, a lot of what I know, kind of takes the fun out of it. I enjoy doing what I do. I enjoy singing. I enjoy performing for people, you know. But there's a lot of it about the business and about what I do that's not fun, that you're subjected to, and it's often not very fair, you know. That part of it, you know when you're going to come out with an album, you know you're going to come out with a movie, the media's going to go crazy. They're going to write, and they're going to write about you. When you don't, for me, I don't have to have an album now. They just talk about me. They just talk about me, talk about me, talk about me, talk about me. You know, I guess I'm important in somebody's life, or somebody's life isn't important enough for them, so they just dig into mine.
So they just dig into mine. That's her, years ago, describing a headline cycle she would never read, the one that's been running this week. Now, I want to be careful here, because it would be easy to turn this into an attack, and that's not what this is. So let me just present the questions honestly and let you sit with them. If you believe the moment was so private that it would destroy someone, so private that you begged a room full of people to protect it, what changes? Years later, that makes it a story worth telling on a stage. Is it kindness to reveal how you once protected someone, or does telling it undo the protecting? I don't think there's a clean answer. People who love Whitney are split on it too. Some hear an act of care. Some hear a person making herself the hero of someone else's worst day. You're allowed to hold both and stay unsure. I'm staying unsure on purpose. Because the real subject here, we're not talking about Oprah. This is a thing that happens to all of us, just on smaller scales. When someone leaves, a public icon, or a grandmother, or a friend, the story of who they were stops being theirs. It passes into the hands of whoever is still here to tell it. And when we tell it in a way that says something about us too. Whitney said you have to live with her to know her. Most of the people remembering her never did. Most of the people remembering anyone never fully did. So the question underneath all of this is uncomfortable. How carefully do we carry a story that can no longer correct us? And here's the part I want us to come back to. We are very good at listening to people once they're gone. We hold tributes. We replay the interviews. We quote them. The harder thing, the thing that actually would have helped Whitney, is listening to people while they're still here to be heard, catching them before they fall instead of arguing about the fall afterward. She told us on camera while she was alive, I am human. Don't make me an image. Don't idolize me. The question is whether we're listening then or only now.
Did you used to idolize him when you were a kid? I never idolized anyone. I admire people. I look up to people and I admire their talents and their gifts that, God has blessed them with. But my mother told me never to idolize anyone because you might be very disappointed.
Yeah? Is that something you can control? I mean, don't you just sort of fall for people like you do when you were a kid?
No. See, when I was growing, I grew up in show business, so I'm what you call a showbiz kid. So I was given the antidote already. My mother she told me never to look at people as an image. Look at them as people because they are people. And if you meet people most of the time that you idolize, you may find, if they come off, maybe they're not feeling well that day, and they may come off a little different. Then you feel rejection and you feel hurt. You feel disappointed that this person didn't live up to your expectation.
So far, this has been about how a story gets taken from someone. But I don't want to leave it there because Whitney actually gives us the other side. She shows us what it looks like to tell someone's story well. And she does it without ever being asked to. Listen to how she talks about other people. Lauryn Hill, Wyclef. Watch what she reaches for. She passes right over the gossip and the lowest moment and goes straight to the gift in them. The meaning, the thing worth honoring.
Lauryn Hill. Lauren and I are from the same state. We're both from New Jersey. We didn't grow up far apart from each other, although our ages are about 10 years apart, I think. Lauren went to my church also. I think when Lauren was like 15 or 16, I gave Lauren a call. And I said, Lauren, because I knew Lauren could sing. And I knew she was with a group called the Fugees. And it baffled me, because I know Lauren can sing. And I called Lauren and I said, Lauren, what are you doing? I said, why aren't you doing a solo album? Why aren't you going to do something, you're a singer and you have such a beautiful voice and you have such an inspirational voice. And people would love to hear what you have to say. And she said to me, Whitney, I'm a Fuji and I'm a Fuji forever. I'll never forget that. And it's funny, because she's Lauryn Hill. And that's what I was saying to her then.
As she has proved pretty well since.
Yes, she has. Lauren is just an open book, you know what I mean? I mean, she's open to the point where you talk to Lauren, and I mean this in a positive sense. She gives, and she inspires. And whatever she says in her mouth, she wants it to be inspirational. She doesn't want anything that comes out of her mouth to be non-productive. You know what I mean? She wants it to be inspirational. She wants it to mean something. And that's Lauren's goal. And Lauren and I did this record. As a matter of fact, it's so funny. She did a record. All I can say is Was that the record Mary J. has out? All I Can Say. Okay, and that was the song she gave me. It was bedded down with time, and I didn't have much time to do that song. Although I loved it, I went back and I said, Lauren was 8 months, 9 months pregnant at the time. And I called her at her house, I'll never forget it, and she sounded so much like myself, and it was like, all right, Lauren, check this out. We're not going to do that song because I don't have time for that. But what I do want you to do is a remake of I Was Made to Love Him. And we're over the phone, I'm giving her the beat. You know, I'm giving her the rap and the beat and the whole rhythm thing. And in between that, she's going, Zion. Okay, I hear you. Zion. Okay, Whitney, yeah, go ahead. And we're doing this rhythm, and I'm thinking, I was made to love him. And she's creating the rhythm on the other end. Zion, hold on. Wait, Mama, can you get Zion? It was so real, but that we were mothers at the same time taking care of our children, but in the business. And it just showed her just balancing off a life. And I watched a young woman become a full-fledged woman, you know. And in the studio, she was pregnant, big pregnant. And I was going, Lauren, all right, enough is enough. I'm going to let you out of here. I did that record in a matter of 5 or 6 hours. Lauren stayed in that studio at least 16 hours after that point. And I kept calling back, going, Lauren, you got to get out of there. She kept going, Whitney, it won't be done until it's done. She's a perfectionist. She works until the work is done. I have major respect for Miss Hill. Major.
Do you generally listen to other people's stuff a lot? I mean, are there songs on the radio that you kind of think, wow, I wish I could have had a go at that?
There's songs like, I love Lauren. I love people who sing songs that have meaning, that mean something, you know. I love Redman. I love Redman. I love Redman, I do. I think Redman is the bomb, you know. I love Naughty by Nature. I love Nas. People who are saying things. I love the Fugees. My favorite music is gospel. Above all, it gives me the highest sense of inspiration, a true reality of my spiritual sense.
That's the great thing about a track My Love Is Your Love. It's a pop gospel record, isn't it?
Yeah, it's funny because I don't even know what really Wyclef was thinking at the time. I do know that he walked in to Clive's office on another business call, and Clive played him some songs from My Love Is Your, which wasn't entitled then, but he came in on some other affair, and he wound up wanting to do some work on my album. He said, man, I got to get on this train, please. When do I have to have it in? He said, you should have had it in yesterday. So he went to doing something and writing, and I got this song, My Love Is Your Love, and I sat and I thought, boy, what a deep young man. What a heavy sense of responsibility he feels. Being a preacher's son, I understand now why he feels an obligation to sing the things that he says. And it's so funny, he was just invited to the memorial of JFK Jr. He didn't even know JFK loved him. And he got a phone call to come and to do the memorial. And I knew it was special because I knew John, I knew Caroline, you know, and the family and stuff, and I was very, very touched by the whole situation, and it just floored me. But I called Wyclef after the fact, and I was trying to get in touch with him because I knew it was just something that he would just have to talk about. And it's so funny, when I got in touch with him, he said, Whitney, I've been waiting for you to call me. I said, why? He said, who else am I going to talk to about this, what happened to me, what I experienced? He said, only you would understand and only you would know. I said, Clef, like a brother to a sister, I said, I know what you mean. I said, so tell me what it was like. He said, it was like sitting there and having your own family member being buried and put away, and he just wept. He said, I've never had that feeling for anybody else other than my family. I said, but they are like our family. The Kennedys are our family. And I understood that. I know, because if I hadn't been on tour, I would have been there myself. So it was, he's just, he's a genius at what he does. And Missy, you know, women, we get this other thing. We get the diva title. We don't get the genius title. But they're all geniuses, you ladies. I love you.
Very, very quickly, just to finish with, there is another movie project on the horizon.
Yeah.
Hear what she did just then. She got to decide how to tell their story, and she chose the part that gives life. Lauren, the perfectionist. Wycliffe, the genius who felt too much. She made space for the best of them, and she said it out loud while they could hear it. Now, I'm not saying you only show the best parts of people. That would be a highlight reel. And Whitney wasn't doing that either. She named struggle plenty. When she had a choice about what to carry, she reached for the part that was true and gave life, and she let the part that was true stay in the past where it happened. Because almost everything about a person is true at the same time. The fall and the discipline, the relapse and the work, the diva and the genius. We don't get to make people simple, but we do get to choose which true thing we repeat, which one we put our breath behind. And the stories that give life, they're always there to be found if we make space for them. Whitney made the call to Lauren. She picked up the phone after the memorial. She went looking for the story worth telling. It didn't arrive on its own. She built it on purpose out of what she chose to honor. Dear Creator is about creating thoughts, words, the small daily habit of paying attention. So let me bring this down from the headline to your actual life because it lives there too. Every one of us tells stories about people who aren't in the room, the coworker, the ex, the family member we decided we already understand. We become, in a small way, the Oprah of someone else's story, narrating a moment they didn't get to explain, framing it the way that flatters us a little. And every one of us is also a Whitney, being summarized by people who weren't there, reduced to our worst day or our most famous one. You have a version of yourself that lives in other people's mouths. You don't get to edit it. So I'm not going to tell you what to think about Oprah or about Whitney's family. I think the more useful thing is to turn the question inward. And friends, where you actually have power. Whose story are you currently telling that isn't yours to tell? And who in your life is trying to tell who they are right now while they're still here and finding that you're not really listening? Take 5 minutes and write. Pick one of these three, whichever one makes you a little uncomfortable, because that's usually the right one. Write about a person you've been narrating, someone whose story you tell a certain way. Now write the same moment from their side as if they were correcting you. What might they say you got wrong? Write the version of yourself that lives in other people's stories. What do they get wrong about you? What would you correct if you could be in the room? And write about someone who's still here, alive or reachable, who has been trying to tell you who they are. What have they been saying that you haven't fully heard? Then decide one small way to actually listen this week.
So you're a tough cookie?
Sometimes.
Always?
Not always, no. Sometimes. That means sometimes.
All right. How is it, to all of a sudden to become...
Whitney said, when I'm dead and gone, they'll know me. Maybe the better goal for her, for the people around us, for ourselves, is to know each other a little better while we're still here to be corrected. Tell your own story while you can, and carry other people's gently, especially the ones who can no longer carry their own. She fell once on a stage in the dark. Others have fell. The kindest thing any of us can do now is to let her story keep falling and to catch the people who still standing in front of us while they still can feel it.
to sing? Go ahead, I'm hearing.
My name is Bobby Chris and I just wanna say, clap your hands.
Breathe.